Good evening. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Councilwoman DeGroot, Councilwoman Hayner, Councilman Schatzel.
Here.
Excuse me, I meant to ask first. Supervisor Quigley was
Here.
and Councilman Van Cleek.
Yes. Thank you very much and welcome to the rescheduled second meeting, the town board meeting for Thursday, September 25th, 2025. Please note the safety entrances to your left and to your right. And if necessary, please exit in an orderly fashion. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda outside of the requested executive session? No. Are there any individuals here tonight who wish to speak on agenda items? Please note, we will have a second public comment session at the end of the scheduled agenda. Any members on agenda items? Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, in the package previously distributed are the minutes for the August 7th workshop and the August 21st town board meeting. May I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented? So moved.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Reavy, Communications.
I have two communications this evening, both in the form of an email. The first one received Friday, September 5th to Ulster Supervisor from Jude Asfar. I'm going to brief it, this communication. Dear Supervisor, while I understand your responsibility to keep up Town of Ulster standards, what is offered by Seed Song Farm is one of the most exceptional and original and wholesome examples that exist in your town and within the county and far beyond. Considering that homeless people in this region sleep on the street, park benches, under bushes, at least Seed Song workers have an imperfect but roof over their heads. Inviting and encouraging the best wholesome standards of play and participation for children and families that can increase understanding and education are what can build cooperation and community and inspire the best of life experiences and memories for all. Seed Song has also been a welcome and warm location and gathering place for the meaningful and educational ceremonial events that they host and arrange. So this is a plea to you, to understanding what the limits might be there are to abide by the various narrow laws. Please allow the freedom for the enlivening and open events to be enjoyed and to continue there, which can make all of us feel better about life and living at this challenging time in the world, and for which we can thank you and your town for allowing. From an Old County resident on behalf of many others, best to you all, Jude. Second communication is an email that was sent to the Town of Ulster Supervisor on Monday, September 22nd. From Joe Sicali, no address given. A Facebook post about the Kirk Memorial Rally gave an implication that the Town of Ulster Police Department endorsed the event and quote unquote love the organizer. I'm expressing concern that all police departments should conduct themselves as unbiased and politically neutral. Please enter this email into the town board's official record and to be read aloud at the next town board meeting. Also, I'd like a public response from the police department chief at the same meeting, as well as a direct response to my email concerns. Thank you.
Chief Peretti, do you care to respond?
Good evening. Yes, in previous past, we do provide event security for gatherings of that nature. One of my members did contact the organizer for the mere fact of trying to gain more information relative to how many attendees were expected. as well as instruct them as long as they abide by the law and remain on the sidewalk and out of vehicular traffic, that we shouldn't have any problems. At no time during the conversation was any support given relative to the fact of what the rally was based on. It was mere of public safety.
Thank you. I was contacted by the Kingston Wire last week when this issue raised its head. And my comments were basically echoing what the chief said, that we have repeatedly over the past historical periods provided security to any and all organizations that have requested it. We have never played favorites. I stressed to the newspaper reporter also, the town cannot be responsible for the comments that a private individual posts on their Facebook page, interpreting what may have been said or may not have been said by our police department. I know from a fact that there has never been, in the history of my term here, a preference by the police department in supporting any organization in any public rally. They have been equal in their protection under the law. So thank you very much. Ms. Reevy, if you could somehow transcribe what we just talked about and respond to her in writing, please. Thank you. Abstract of claims, please.
The abstract of claims is $929,482.51.
Is the print acceptable?
I'm using my phone so I can read it. I thought it was because the print was larger that it's all the same page, but so,
It used to be on 2 pages, but we've had some concern about people's eyesight, so we changed the format so that it appears on 2 pages now.
okay.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Sweeney, could you make a brief explanation on the budget modifications, please?
This month there was one major modification, not major, but 14,372.63. That was just from an insurance claim that we got reimbursed for an accident. So we put it into the revenue. We're going to go ahead. This is how we move it and increase our expense back.
Okay, so may I have a motion to accept the budget modifications as presented?
I'll make that motion.
I have a second.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? On the budget transfers?
Am I doing them or Tashka? Okay.
On the budget transfers, please.
I don't even have to turn it on. I left it on. This is the normal operating on a monthly basis, looking at our revenues and expenses. Again, regular operating, we transferred $67,425.30.
And as I had asked you, I had one line item I was concerned about, and you're gonna get me, you're gonna get us all a copy of the detail on the expenses of it.
Yes,
Okay.
May I have a motion to accept the transfers as presented?
I make that motion.
Do I have
I'll
a second?
it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, at the last meeting, the town board voted on a resolution and a motion to establish or start the process for establishing an extension to the Cherry Hill Sauk Hill Road Water District. The extension requires a public hearing. That public hearing is scheduled tonight for 7:05. It is past the appointed time. And basically what the proposal is to include new parcels that have been provided water service through the extension of the water line from the New York State Thruway toll barrier area under the New York State Thruway over to Rupco and to the properties to the west towards 209. And this is just a part of the process. So may I have a motion to open the public hearing on the Sauk Hill Road District Water Extension?
So moved.
Have a second? All those in favor? I hereby open for public comment the public hearing on the establishment of the Cherry Hill Sauk Hill Road Water District Extension number 1. Are there any individuals here tonight who wish to comment publicly on the matter? Going once, twice?
Make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a time schedule here to try to get these properties added to the tax bill for the 2026 year so that the residents in those districts can benefit from the additional assessed value added to the district. So we will dispense with the normal 30-day written comment period and ask for written comments, if any, prior to the 16th of October. Going to the next item. It is a 7:10 public hearing for the establishment of the Washington Avenue Sewer District Extension number 2. This is to include the same parcels that were included in the Water District Extension that have been provided sewer service by the extension underneath the New York State Thruway for the Rupco project of sanitary sewer. So may I have a motion to open a public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, the 7:10 public hearing for the establishment of the Washington Avenue Sewer District Extension number 2 is hereby open. Are there any members of the public here tonight wishing to make comment on this local law? Going once, going twice?
Make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. And as with the prior motion, we are on the same schedule. I would ask that public comment be provided to the town board no later than October 16th. Moving down to new business. The first item is the presentation and acceptance of the town clerk's monthly report for the month of August 2025, emailed on 9/24/25. Ms. Reevy, is there anything that you wish to report or highlight for the board in this report? May I have a motion to accept the town clerk's report as presented? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a presentation and acceptance of the supervisor's monthly report for the month of August 2025. And as normal, we have included in the materials package, which is on the town's website, the cash summary report, which details the balances in all the town's cash accounts, along with the investments, the profiles of the investments, whether they are demand or time deposits, and the classification of collateralization. I will note that our demand deposits are 40% at this point in the year. Our time deposits are 60%. As we continue towards the end of the year, our demand deposits will go down because we are using those monies to pay bills. And the time deposits were placed on the books of the town with extended maturities to protect the town from interest rate decreases that are expected to come about from Federal Reserve rate adjustments like the one that took place last week. So may I have a motion to accept the monthly supervisor's report?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Sweeney again. On the September 17th email on the tax cap.
Sure. I wrote an email to the board as you received on the 17th. I contacted the New York State Office of the State Comptrollers, the legal division, and about the ambulance district being in the excluded list that is included in the tax cap calculation. At that time, they told me that there was a bill in the assembly. It's already passed the assembly. It's also passed the Senate. It is now waiting for the governor to call for it. We don't know when that will be. If the governor calls for it, then the ambulance districts, just like any other fire district, would then be excluded from the tax cap. As of right now, though, it is not. So I asked the members of the board that I strongly recommended to submit a resolution to override the tax cap for 2026 budget.
Thank you. That leads us to the next item, which is merely a presentation to the town board of a local law for 2025. A local law to authorize the override of the New York State tax cap for the 2026 budget year. Okay, this is not a action that we will take tonight. We are required to take, and my next item is a motion to set a public hearing for October 16th at 2025 at 7:10 p.m. for the purposes of considering public comment on the local law to authorize the override of the tax cap. And the reason that it may be required this year is that in doing the calculation, we are allowed a $443,000 increase in our tax levy. And because of the annualization of the newly created ambulance district and how we funded it in 2025, the increase in taxes just to fund the ambulance district is in excess of $443,000. So that basically leaves us no room to raise taxes in any other fund, which is what we're trying to achieve at this point in time. So may I have a motion to set the public hearing for October 16th, 2025 at 7:10 for the public hearing on the tax cap override?
I'll make that one.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
Is it, so you had sent an email this afternoon about a meeting you were involved with?
Okay,
How many
this,
towns?
yes, there was a recent statistical analysis done by the New York State Association of Towns where they analyzed over a 5-year period how many towns in New York State there are and how many towns filed for overrides. And I believe it was approximately 21% of the entire municipalities in the town category that have historically overridden the tax cap for one reason or another.
Did it also though in that email say that some of them, did it give a calculation, how many did this, but then didn't do the override?
There was something in there.
Percent, the 20% didn't do it.
Right. And basically, the way I see this is as our budget is formed and presented, and as we move through the budget process, we will not vote on the override until the last possible moment. So it very well may be that we start the process, but we don't finish it because the budget doesn't require us to override. But it's too premature to make that determination now. And everyone should be aware that a local law under our policy basically has a time requirement for presentation, aging, and then a public comment period, and then it takes time to take effect. So that law has to be in effect the minute before we pass the budget through a vote. Ms. Raby, it is now your turn to dazzle us.
We have to take the vote on that, right? We didn't vote.
All those in favor of the public hearing? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I don't know about dazzle. Our town website is townofulster.ny.gov. And I'm here tonight to talk about our website compliance. The goal of a municipal website should be to provide key content for its public audience. And in our case, we provide that not just to our residents, but to our entire community. That's our goal. A website should contain easily accessible items such as government records, financial documents, local laws, contact information, and public notices. It is mandatory that a municipality maintain a website. We have no option over that. We have an obligation to provide those key items that I mentioned and also to be in compliance with New York State laws. Those are the laws outlined by the New York State General Municipal Law and the Open Meetings Law. On December 21st, 2024, Governor Hochul signed into law Chapter 609, requiring municipalities to maintain and regularly update their website using an official webpage using a .gov domain, not .com, .org, other things that municipalities have may used in the past. The deadline for that was June of this year. We already met this standard in May of 2021 when we changed our website from a .org site to a .gov site. Why would we do that, and why does the state advocate for that? We did so because we wanted a more trusted official online identity. We wanted our site to be recognized as an official government entity. And we didn't just do this on our own. We had to contact the state. We worked extensively with New York State Information Technology Services to establish this .gov website. Going back to Law 609 that was signed by the governor last year, websites must regularly update its webpage and must post these following requirements. These are the only requirements, and I am proud to say that we offer much more, and we wish that more people would visit our site to see how much more we provide. The following things are required: the minutes of the meetings made available to the public, and this is new to me. I usually wait for the town board to approve the minutes before I post them, but it is required that the minutes are posted within 2 weeks of the meeting, whether they're complete or in draft form. The agenda, even though agendas are not required, but the specific records, which are to be scheduled to be the subject of discussion at said meetings, are required to be posted at least 24 hours before each meeting. Codes, local laws, resolutions are required. We include our resolutions in the body of the minutes. The town code is on our website. Local laws are on there as well. Documentation pertaining to the most recent annual financial reports, current year budget, most recent independent audit reports, and recent fiscal performance plans are required, and we go back at least 3 years, sometimes 5. Notices of all public hearings, public meetings, and municipal elections. That is something that I have not provided before. I consider elections sometimes to be, I want them to be bipartisan, but those are required. Notices of elections and primaries, whether Democratic or Republican, are required to be posted on the website. On February 28th of this year, Governor Hochul signed an amendment to that law, limiting the obligation of municipalities of having a population equal to or greater than 1,500 people. That obligation is not to take effect until 1 year after that amendment was signed, but us with the population of 12,000 or a little bit more than that, that doesn't pertain to us. And I will say the greatest onus of this is my responsibility. However, I'm working with other town departments to ensure that all of these requirements are being met and that they will be met. And just in addition, I talked to the supervisor recently about our website being ADA compliant. That's to comply with the Americans Disability Act. That's having a website that has readable text, contrast variations, closed captioning for videos, things like that. That is not required of websites until early 2027. However, just this week, we added a free widget or an icon in the lower right-hand corner of our website. It's a red circle with a stick figure in it. And if you click on that, it allows you to change the font size, space the letters, change the contrast, and just tweak around with the text on our website. So check that out.
I have a question. If I recall in reading the law, there was a carve out for the prompt publication of the town board minutes in draft form if there was an audio or video of the meeting posted. And I
Right.
want to make it clear to the community. Our audios and our YouTube videos are posted within an hour of the conclusion of our meetings. Ms. Reevy stays late to make sure that those audio and videos are promptly posted. So we may not be delivering the draft versions of the minutes, but the most accurate representation of what happened at these meetings in the audio and video versions are available online within an hour of the meeting's conclusion.
Right, that helps with reporters too. I know Crispin Cott, I'm not sure what agency he, what he represents, but sorry, I'm looking at you. He relies on that and has in the past, I don't know if he still does, on that video for the context of his writings, so.
Okay, and the other comment I want to make is that the town's evaluation of our delivery of materials on our website has been an ongoing event since at least 2014, when there was an academic paper that I happen to have and have read, done in an accounting majors program at some university, which I happen to have forgotten which one, where they described disclosures and they provided a checklist for what represented to be good disclosure.
And they give you
And-
a score, right?
And they
at the
gave us
end.
a score. And there were two versions of that. One was outside the state of New York. The other was done by an organization in Buffalo called Sunshine New York. And in both instances, when we had summer interns, their project for a portion of the summer was to evaluate the town's disclosure against those checklists. And we have made repeatedly improvements up until now when the state government prescribes what it is that we're supposed to be.
Mhm.
So we have been providing transparency and documentation to the public in this town for a very long time.
I just want to add that, Sue, to your credit, you drove this really hard the last couple of years, working with our provider, and you got this
Yeah,
named quite well.
Well, the big thing was the redesign
right.
within the last 2 years of the website.
Yeah.
I have to say, I work with, that's the town, and I work with Mike Rice, who is our web designer, and he's always readily available to me. He also develops websites for 2 other towns locally. And in these discussions, he said he's going to now use this as a basis for working with those other towns to make sure they're in compliance as well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Ms. Hayner, Personnel Matters?
Okay, we have from Chief Berardi would like to recommend hiring Ryan Maish as a part-time police officer. Ryan is currently attending the Ulster County Law Enforcement Training Group Police Academy and is looking to further his law enforcement career. He is going to be part-time, under union, non-competitive, no coverage of health insurance at a wage of $28.25 at step 1, and the start date is October 1st, 2025.
May I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Also,
Discussion? One question for Chief Berardi. Okay, Mr. Seyfarth, is he in phase 1 or phase 2 of the academy? Okay, so we're hiring effective October 1st. What is he going to do for us October 2nd if he's in phase 1? Okay. So everyone understands we're paying for someone again to go to the academy.
Mhm.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, I have a letter from Matthew Sabia. Dear members of the town board, please accept this letter as formal notice of my resignation from my position with the town of Ulster, effective Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. I am grateful for the opportunity to have served the town of Ulster. My time here has allowed me to grow as a professional, and I will carry that experience forward into the next chapter of my career. I've accepted an opportunity that aligns closely with my professional goals and values, and I look forward to building upon the skills I developed here. I will work to ensure a smooth transition prior to my departure. Thank you for the opportunity to serve. Sincerely, Matthew Sabia.
May I have a motion to accept his resignation?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Is Howard, do we have we, or do we plan to have an extra interview with him?
If you recall the last town board meeting, we had an executive session where we provided him the opportunity to sell himself.
Yeah, all I wanted to know was. at
If you
that
would
point-
like to give him an exit interview, you can feel free to. I don't see a need to.
I'll talk to him about it.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is the presentation of a resolution establishing a return check fee. in the amount of $20. This comes about from a recent article in the New York State Association of Towns magazine that recommended that the town memorialize in the official records of the town the rights of the town and the dollar amount for return check fees. So may I have a motion to accept the resolution as presented?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a resolution adopting a personnel committee hiring policy, which has been discussed, I believe, in the last 2 or 3 town board meetings. This establishes the obligation of the personnel committee to interview prior to the final hiring of all candidates in all departments.
So moving forward, we will be able to assume that when you're presenting someone, you will have done that. You don't have to ask.
Yes.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to accept the resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Old business. First item is a resolution for a site plan approval extension for wraparound services of the Hudson Valley Project P 909 at 230 and 234 Titan Bridge Road in Lake Katrine, section block and lot 39.20-1-24.223. They were referred by the planning board 2 years ago to the town board for an extension to their existing facilities on the corner of Lake Road and Titan Bridge. And the town board approved the plan at that time. I believe the organization is challenged with raising money to complete this capital improvement and has requested time to raise the money. So they've asked us to extend their municipal permits. So may I have a motion to accept the resolution as proposed?
I'll make that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
May I have any discussion? May I have a roll call vote, please? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I will be abstaining from this because they are a customer of mine for the last 30 years.
Councilman Van Fleet.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0 with 1 abstention. Thank you. And the last item. Mr. Groot, you were instrumental in establishing the contract. Would you like to take this one?
What?
The last item on the ambulance contract.
The motion to authorize, can you hear me? The motion to authorize the supervisor to sign a 3-year price agreement starting January 1st of 2026 with Empress Emergency Services for townwide ambulance service.
Thank you.
Could you explain?
Yes, I will be
Thank you.
glad to. The original contract negotiated had a 5% renewal premium for the 2026 year. Due to the financial performances of the service by Empress, they have offered us a renewal for 2026 at a 2% increase and a lock for 27 and 28 at 3% for each year. This is favorable in light of today's inflation numbers, and we still preserve our rights under the existing contract to audit their financial results to determine exactly whether they're making or losing money. And it is the expectation that if they are doing very, very well, we will have future conversations to mitigate any future rate increases. So may I have a motion to to authorize the supervisor to sign said agreement?
So moved.
I have a second.
I'll make that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our scheduled agenda for tonight. And before I call for a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of discussing matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person,
You actually don't.
matters leading to the appointment and employment. Was I specific enough? Okay. All right, thank you. So with that being said, I will open the floor to public comment on any matter. Is there anyone here tonight? Ms. Hartman?
Good evening, Laura Hartman. I'm the chair of townofulstercitizens.org, and I'm here to speak to the current status of the Terrigen battery storage facility application. There is a strong sense of deja vu with this situation. Once again, it appears that the town supervisor is steering a project toward a negative declaration, despite clear evidence that a positive declaration is immediately warranted. It has been months since the town board declared itself lead agency, and since then, there has been an overwhelming public demand to declare a POSDEC, and yet these calls continue to be ignored. At the same time, we've seen new studies appear on the town's website dating back to April and June. While these documents suggest that ongoing discussions and exchanges are taking place, it remains unclear what communications are occurring between the town as lead agency and the applicant, and whether additional studies have been requested that have not yet been posted publicly. The lack of transparency raises serious concerns. A seeker review of this size and scale demands an open, inclusive process, not one conducted behind closed doors. This approach not only undermines public trust, it undermines the intent of seeker, which is to ensure a full, impartial, and transparent environmental review. Meanwhile, the town supervisor has gone on record in support of the project, despite the town as lead agency being at the start of the environmental review process. 3 examples illustrate this. Number 1, he told Hurley residents if this project isn't built, town of Ulster taxes would be raised due to the loss of $2 million in taxes. Number 2, at the September 4th town board meeting, he cited a statement of support from Senator Hinchey and Assemblywoman Shrestha. And number 3, in the September 17 Hudson Valley One article, he stated, the Ulster supervisor denied the town board was on the brink of making a declaration of no environmental impacts for the project. And here's his quote, though we might end up there eventually. This is a clear admission that decisions are being shaped outside of the public view. Is the board prepared to let one individual steer this process toward a predetermined outcome? Seeker is not an obstacle. It is a framework for informed, balanced, and participatory decision-making. Seeker exists to evaluate and mitigate potential impacts before approvals are granted, and to include the public in that process. This is a type 1 action under Seeker, which presumes the likelihood of at least one potential significant environmental impact. Issuing a POSDEC is not a legal risk. It is a normal, appropriate, and protective step in the seeker process. The town will not be sued for following the law and erring on the side of caution. In fact, the greater legal and public trust risk comes from trying to avoid a POSDEC when one is clearly justified. We already know of at least 4 potential significant impacts. 1, potential conflicts with county plans to protect open space and farmland. 2, reliance on a volunteer fire department for emergency response. 3, site's proximity to NYSDEC designated potential environmental justice area. And 4, the absences of a thorough alternatives analysis to explore better suited locations. Seeker regulations require the lead agency to determine significance within 20 days of its establishment or receipt of necessary information. We are well past that time frame. Importantly, Seeker does not require every study to be completed before making this determination, only enough information to identify potential impacts. The threshold is potential harm, not proof. That threshold was met long ago. Instead of following this, the town appears to be working behind the scenes with the developer to gather just enough information to justify a neg deck. This violates the letter and spirit of Seeker. While seeker does not explicitly require impartiality, it does require the lead agency to act lawfully, transparently, and without bias, identifying relevant impacts and taking a hard look and providing a reasoned public explanation. Given the supervisor's public support of the project, I ask, can this board trust his impartiality, and should he recuse himself? As a resident in the town of Ulster, in coalition with residents living in the town of Hurley and city of Kingston who are directly impacted as well, I call on this board to end behind-the-scenes decision-making, include the public, and declare a POSDEC under seeker immediately. And to be clear, I do not oppose or support the project itself at this time. I only request a transparent and lawful process that respects the seeker process and our community.
Ms.
Thank
Hartman,
you.
let me assure you, you will get the transparent process when we received the appropriate information from the applicant. You cited a 20-day deadline from the submission of all materials. All materials have not been received. Therefore, the 20 days has not been triggered. I will share with you an email that the town's consulting planner wrote to the town board on September 18th. I know that the town board has conducted some initial public outreach sessions to understand what concerns the public has with regard to the project. I suggest that we review those records, which will be provided to them, and recommend a draft Part 2 EAF for the town board's consideration that incorporates any reasonable concerns. We then typically ask the applicant to address the potential moderate and large impacts as identified on the EAF Part 2 in a draft EAF Part 3. We then peer review the applicant's draft Part 3, retaining any necessary specialist consultants to weigh in. We have been interviewing engineers to overview the fire submissions from the developer. That takes time. And go over the issues with the town board to help them make their determination of significance, which will either conclude seeker or require the preparation of an EIS. Now listen closely. Given the degree of public comment received, I would imagine that the town board is at least 2 to 3 months away from making the determination of significance. Would you like a copy? Here it is. In addition, you seem to be great at doing research. I would suggest you research the following. Failure to take a hard look and provide reasoned elaboration. The most fundamental requirement under seeker is that the lead agency must take a hard look, which you mentioned, at all relevant environmental core concerns. This is a core principle established by the New York State Court of Appeals. In the matter of Jackson versus the New York State Urban Development, which is a seminal case, the Court of Appeals established the standard of judicial review for seeker determinations, stating that the court's role is not to weigh the desirability of a project or substitute its own judgment, but to assure that the agency itself has satisfied seeker procedurally and substantially. The agency's record must show that it identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, took a hard look at them, and made a reasoned elaboration on the basis for its determination. A failure to do so will result in the annulment of the determination. In addition, I would recommend that you read the following case. Issuing a positive declaration based upon public opposition alone. An agency cannot base a seeker determination on public opposition without identifying and substantiating a potential significant adverse environmental impact. Public comment is an essential part of the process, but it must relate to cognizable environmental concerns. In the matter of Verizon Wireless of the East LP versus the town of Wappingers, in a U.S. federal district court case, this federal case, which applies seeker principles, is a close example of this. The court found that the town's positive declaration for a cell tower was a delaying tactic issued merely to delay the permitting process. The court held that the declaration was a pretext and was not based on any substantial environmental concerns, but rather on public and political pressures. You stand here tonight accusing me of taking actions that are not in accordance with my core values. You are running for the town board, and you should be demonstrating a degree of investigation that shows the people that you are qualified to sit up here.
I
Instead, you
stand by
sit-
this
excuse me,
statement.
No, then
I
that's fine.
stand by this
I will
statement.
call that, if you stand by that station, I will then call for a positive deck right now,
Excuse me,
and then we can get sued.
excuse me. The board policy is, and we have public.
Yes,
So I'm gonna.
and I
remind-
violated the policy,
I'm gonna
so we will go move on then.
I'm-
Duly chastised.
reminding you that the policy is that the supervisor does not respond to the people when they're speaking to us until after there's been time to consider it, and if we have up to a month to respond. This board does not want you to be responding in an accusatory or aggressive tone. I'm speaking for
Thank you.
myself, but I believe I'm speaking for others when I say that. I ask that you just tone it down.
It's fine, thank you. Next.
And I'm just putting this on the record. I don't expect a response. So thank you so much, everybody. Good evening, everybody. First of all, nice work on your website, by the way. I've browsed it extensively. I know that municipal bond ratings, the more transparent a government is, the more different type of media outlets you have in a community, makes it easier for a municipality to borrow. So it's all good stuff. And then what I'm really here to talk about, though, is just saying this plainly. Putting a massive battery plant on Hurley Avenue is not just bad planning. It's dangerous, and everyone in this room knows it, okay? Supervisor Quigley, members of the town board, I'd like to be very clear tonight. The proposed battery plant on Hurley Avenue is a reckless and ill-conceived idea. It places a high-risk industrial facility in the middle of residential neighborhoods near schools, churches, and small businesses. No responsible municipality should gamble with public safety in this way. Equally concerning are public statements being made by town officials, specifically this one that I will read into the record right now. September 17th, 2025, article by Getty Svaklis, Getty from Hudson Valley One, formerly Woodstock Times. Were other professional services to be required? And I quote, psychologists, Quigley responded. And I'm going to snip the commentary there out. I'm not kidding. Are you accusing the public of being crazy, or is this driving you crazy? Either way, it doesn't really matter to me. The point is, when those statements downplay the risks, or worse, signal favoritism towards the developer, they do real damage. They give the impression that the outcome is predetermined, and they erode public confidence in both this process and the board. That is unacceptable. The people of Ulster and the surrounding communities deserve more than sound bites in the press. They deserve a rigorous, transparent review and leaders who take their duty to protect the community seriously. If this allows even the appearance of bias, which I believe already has happened, you are not only exposing the town to liability, you are betraying the trust of the very people you were elected to serve. This is not about opposing clean energy. It is about opposing negligence. And if this board cannot guarantee the safety and credibility of the review process, then the only responsible course is to stop this proposal in its tracks. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
I'm Tim Kelly from Burley, by the way.
I also did, Jillian Freed from Hurley. I also did see the psychologist comment. I want to say I actually do have one. She's wonderful. So I'm good. I'm cleared. So hi board, thank you so much for sitting here through us coming time and time again. I really appreciate the respect from most of you, so thank you very much. So did you know 2 Tesla Megapack lithium battery units caught fire at Townside Solar and Storage Facility in Boulder, Nevada, just this past Tuesday night? The fire burned for hours and was still smoldering into the next day. Another reminder, these fires are not rare or quickly resolved. Did you know, according to ERCOT, there have been 26 documented BESS fires in the U.S. between 2012 and 2025, with 22 of those since 2019. That's an average of 3 to 4 major BESS fires every year, and the pace is accelerating, with most of them happening in just the last few years. Did you know BESS units are typically built from Corten steel, the same type used in shipping containers? But Corten steel begins to lose strength at just 600 degrees Fahrenheit, is down to half its strength by 1100 degrees Fahrenheit, and fails completely above 1500 degrees Fahrenheit. Lithium ion battery fires can burn hotter than 2000 degrees Fahrenheit, far beyond what these containers can withstand. That's from FEMA. Did you know lithium iron phosphide batteries, the type often touted by developers as safer, can still go into thermal runaway? In fact, studies show that lithium iron phosphide batteries can emit significant amounts of hydrogen fluoride gas, sometimes more than nickel manganese cobalt batteries when normalized into energy capacity. Hydrogen fluoride is a highly toxic gas with no safe exposure level. Did you know, when inhaled, hydrogen fluoride, a gas released in lithium battery fires, can cause severe lung damage, fluid buildup in the lungs, seizures, irregular heartbeat, and even cardiac arrest? It binds to the calcium in your body, eating away at bone, crippling vital functions. Even short-term exposure can be deadly. And let's be honest, no one here can prevent that. Did you know toxic gas released into lithium battery fires can travel over a mile during the day and up to 2 to 3 miles at night when air is cooler and more stable? That means a single fire can endanger people well beyond the immediate the site. Did you know battery storage facilities, they don't generate power, they consume it. They draw electricity from the grid to charge and require cooling and ventilation 365 days a year without pause. In New York, where much of our electricity still comes from natural gas, that means BESS actually drive more fossil fuel use and more emissions every single day. That's from NYSO 2023. Did you know, if this battery project burns, and it won't be from headlines from another state, it will be our town, our kids, your family, our families, and the path of that smoke. Hydrogen fluoride gas doesn't stop at fences. It can spread miles into classrooms, into living rooms, and it will bypass your closed windows and your AC units turned off. There's no safe place to hide. There's no evacuation plan. There's no firefighter training, and there's no way to undo the damage once it starts. Eventually, you're going to have to make a choice. So protect the community or gamble with the lives. Thank you.
Would you provide that to us in writing, please?
Yep,
Please give it to the clerk.
got it.
And as I said, every comment that has been made since the initiation of this project is being turned over to the engineers for evaluation. That is why there is a delay. If you could recall, Mr. Wahid sat here and called into question inadequacies in the EAF form. We have asked for a written response from the applicant for what his charges were. And that is the exercise that we are taking on every statement that is made. So everything that you've now here cited, we will be forwarding to the experts requesting for an evaluation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comment? Mr. Obajewski.
Good evening, board members. My name is Regis Obajewski, 170 Ledge Road, Town of Ulster. I have prepared remarks, and a lot of them mirror what Laura Hartman had said. And I just want to say that there is a perception, I mean, I'll give you a copy of this stuff, but there's a perception that this is a done deal, or that, Jim, maybe you want it to be a done deal. I'm not saying that's exactly what you want. I'm saying that's the perception. And perception beats reality 8 days of the week. I think you know that. And you and I had a discussion, a personal discussion about process and about fidelity to the process of seeker. And you said, Regis, I'll never lose anything on process. I will not lose a project on process. I know process, and you know process. The point is, what you said earlier in response to what Laura had said was that there was an awful lot that isn't there in the FEAF that's posted on the website. We don't know that, what isn't there. If it isn't there, it either should be discarded, not put on the website as a significant piece of proposal. It should be given back to the if you feel it needed to be returned back to the applicant, then just do that. But to leave it on there certainly leads one to believe that this is a final thing. We looked at it. And, you know, we're not experts on seeker, but we found maybe 13 areas that would constitute a need for a positive declaration, you know, on this, that we needed to explore this. And it shouldn't be explored in private. It shouldn't be explored on a one-to-one basis. It should be explored. That's the whole beauty and the virtue of the seeker process, that it's public. One of the reasons that, and this is under the rubric of politics makes strange bedfellows, and I mean that metaphorically, of course. When Sarah Hannah Shrestha and Michelle Hinchy teamed up and issued a statement that this is really okay and it's safe. Yeah, it's funny, but it angered us. It angered me because I felt it was just disrespectful to the process. And the process is something that I know that you prize and everybody else here on the board has great respect for. And it's like it's not being followed. I wrote her a letter because she doubled down, her being Sarah Hannah Shrestha. I think Michelle Hinchy demurred a little bit, you know, in the press, but Sarah Hannah doubled down, and I just felt that it was arrogant, and I called her arrogant. I wrote her a letter. I called her arrogant, and I said, you got ahead of yourself, and if you don't realize the timing of what you did, such that the supervisor of our town announced this at the beginning of a meeting, then you don't understand how this works. You are completely, your politics is in disrepair. So, you know, it means nothing to me that Sarah Hannah Shrestha, thinks this is a good and safe idea, and we should just kind of get over ourselves. But the way to get over ourselves is really to confront this. And if it's not worthy, if the FEAF is not worthy, we should just disregard it. If it is worthy, let's take it for what it is, do a pause deck and be done with it. See where it goes. So that's my.
Thank you.
Yep. Here.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Your name, sir?
My name is Richard Hubbs. I live in the Rolling Meadows subdivision. We're residents, voters, and taxpayers in the town of Ulster. We've lived in the Rolling Meadows subdivision for over 30 years. I can stand in my backyard and look down the hill and see the roof of the Coleman High School building, probably 200 yards away. We agree that there's a need for some energy storage facilities, but not in a residential area like this. It's true, the battery storage technology is evolving. Who could have imagined 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, that such a facility like this would be possible? But the technology now is still far from perfect and foolproof, and still subject to failure, possibly leading to catastrophic results. The recent fire in January 2025 at the Moss Landing facility in Northern California has underscored the critical consideration for firefighting and fire prevention strategy in large-scale lithium-ion battery installations like this. Even though the site was in an industrial complex, it led to the evacuation of approximately 1,500 nearby residents. And it highlights the unique and horrific challenges posed by these lithium-ion battery fires, including the release of toxic gases and the difficulty in extinguishing these fires. Closer to home, recently there have been recorded fires at BESS facilities in the town of Lyme in upstate Jefferson County in July, the town of Warwick in Orange County in June, and the town of East Hampton in Suffolk County in May. The PR Flax of Terragen have spoken highly of the safety of lithium iron phosphate batteries in their facilities, but these batteries are still not 100% safe. These batteries still have the possibility of an uncontrolled thermal failure. They can release toxic gases and can ignite uncontrollable fires, particularly as they begin to age. In an array of almost 300 units, the opportunity for an uncontrolled thermal runaway or chain reaction event is frightening and multiplied. Fire prevention and fire suppression in these units is unsure at best. There's a clear risk to local volunteer fire companies who will be expected to respond to the site. Terragen has offered to train local fire departments, including Spring Lake. Terragen can offer, but there's no mandate, no requirement that local fire companies be trained to handle these lithium fires. How do the residents of the towns of Ulster and Hurley and the city of Kingston get assurance that their local firefighters will be trained adequately and safely in this lithium fire protection? Make no mistake, the general rule for dealing with a lithium fire is basically stand back, let it burn itself out, and hope that it doesn't spread. Do nothing and hope for the best. We do not need to become another example on the list of recent BESS facility failures. This proposed facility is a clear and blatant money grab from Terragen and its partners like Central Hudson. It's simply to buy cheap, unused energy from Central Hudson and sell it back to Central Hudson at a profit during peak high-demand times. This proposed site is not tied to any renewable energy source. Rather, it is designed to gather unused energy from the network, regardless of its production, and to store it temporarily until the grid needs it during peak hours. This is for the benefit of the metro New York City area, further south from here, and from energy sources further north from here. This is not designed to benefit the needs of the consumers and residents in the town of Ulster and the Kingston area. There's no benefit for local residents, and the risk to the health and the safety of the local population and the possible effects to the environment from any fire is too great. We ask that you consider the safety and the well-being of the residents of the town of Ulster, your constituents, and to the residents of the nearby towns of Hurley and city of Kingston. We urge you to provide at least a 90-day comments period for the public to openly voice concerns and questions with the opportunity for public forum and meetings for the purpose of transparency in all regards. We need to examine and thoroughly evaluate the risks this project presents to the public and to public health and safety. We need to consider emergency procedures and assure that the people of the town have a clear and meaningful voice. We urge you to issue a positive declaration under the secret procedure. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Any other comments here tonight? Ms. Lucarini? I'll come back to you, sir. Thank you.
Good evening Supervisor Quigley and the town board members. I don't have a statement prepared tonight, but from what I have heard, I just would like to ask Supervisor, is there a way that what you're doing at this time, after you've heard the concerns and the perceptions, is there a way that you can make what you're doing more transparent at this time? I respect your knowledge of the process, but is there a way that you can maybe do an update to the community at the town board meetings or something? That way you're not getting accused of doing things that you're not. Is there a way? That's all I'm asking.
If I'm not doing anything, which I'm not, what do
I
I have
know.
to disclose? I just disclosed tonight that we are evaluating bringing in experts that have a skill set that's not present in our current professional inventory to evaluate the proposals. I said that we're still waiting for additional documents. That's as far as I'm going to go, Ms. Lucarini.
Okay, and that's fine, that you gave an update. But like I'm saying, there are perceptions out there because there have been things in the news, in the newspaper, and that's really what is getting people upset because we don't know what's going on.
In the back, sir.
Good evening. I'm Steve Bauer, Hurley resident of Hurley, sorry. I'm here to voice my opposition for the BESS system that is being proposed at the Old Coleman High School. TerraGen has 7 of these systems in California. All but one is much smaller than the proposed system, and all are in industrial locations. Again, this area is considered partially residential and none of it is industrial. TerraGen has asked for a waiver for a special permit due to no buildings being over the 3,500 square foot threshold. I asked that they not be exempt from this process as they'll have a combined 96,000 square feet of buildings. Fire codes have been used in the fire system and the fire service for over 120 years. Best system fire codes are new, less than 6 years in operation. These are the minimum standards. They're usually formed in response to a catastrophe. This is still new technology and ever changing. As recently as June of this year, the town was concerned with fire suppression. Should there be a fire? And now there is no fire suppression systems in these containers. The containers will be left to burn. Each container will have 600 kilowatts of energy, the equivalent of 600 e-bikes. Thousands of individual batteries will be housed in each container, and hundreds of thousands, if not a million, will be housed on the grounds of Coleman. Each one of these batteries is capable of thermal runaway. The only solution will be to let them burn. Toxic smoke will be produced during the event, often lasting days. Due to new codes that were recently come out, large-scale fire testing needs to be completed and a report issued according to the new code. The report needs to be looked at very carefully. These types of batteries are unstable and new technology is forthcoming. According to the National Fire Protection Association, the NFPA, lithium-ion batteries should not be charged at temperatures below 32 degrees. 2024, we had 94 days that the temperature was below freezing. NFPA writes the codes that Terrigen and the politicians keep referring to. Recently, I was contacted by Mr. Turner, spokesman of Terrigen, to reach out to one of the experts that he deals with. Instead of his guy, I reached out to a different expert with no connection to myself or Mr. Turner. Excuse me. I asked about the 75-foot radius to 100-foot radius that was safe for firefighters. He told me that radius was not for the smoke, but for the exploding batteries from the containers. I asked him about my concerns about the toxic smoke with the proximity of residents and schools. He agreed with my concerns and felt they were legitimate. He offered me something very interesting, a new, very small BESS system near a campus south of us in Westchester was going to be using alkaline batteries instead of lithium ion due to the fire risk. I think that's something that we should consider. Lastly, I looked on the fire command center that is on the site where our local firemen are supposed to stage. Could someone explain to me why it is directly downwind of the prevailing winds of this area? It certainly doesn't seem like a very smart place to put it. It seems like nothing about this whole facility was well thought out. Thank you.
Mr. Bauer, can I have one question? You are a professional firefighter, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to make you an offer. NYSERDA is conducting tours of battery energy storage facilities in New York City.
Mhm.
I'm going to make sure you get on the list to get an invitation.
Great.
I believe it's important for you to understand what it is that is is being proposed here.
I
I've
went-
also extended that invitation to Mr. Obuchowski and Ms. Hartman before the meeting.
Okay. I also went down to the conference that was at Dutchess Community College, and there are so many people that have so many different ideas about how to take pressure off of the grid, how to do it cleaner and without the hazardous materials of the lithium ion fires or batteries, and without the risk of high fires. They just kind of seem to dismiss them as they have a single agenda, which was concerning to me. The head of NYSERDA was there. They didn't say anything. They let people speak, but had no communication with anybody. But there are many other options coming down the line.
Thank you. Any other comments here tonight? Hold on, ma'am.
Hi, I sent this as an email, but I would like to get it into the record. It's short. Thank you for
Ma'am.
speak. My name is Sherry Tesler, and I live in Country Village. I have serious concerns about the safety of the proposed battery park being considered for the Coleman School site because of the number of residents and school children in the immediate area. Another more isolated location should be considered. The only downside of finding another site that I could think of is that it would cost the company more money than the Coleman site. Why should that be more important than the safety of your constituents? Please arrange for a hearing to allow the public to ask questions of Terrigen. We deserve that opportunity. Also, I urge a positive declaration under secret. How can anyone think this location is a good idea before the impact has been impartially studied? Thank you.
Ms. Reeby, have we posted the emails that we have received?
Yes.
So your email is part of the record once it gets to the town's website, as is every comment that is made.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Mr. Kimball, it's your turn.
Thanks for specifying the motion to go into executive session and just to address what I go by. And if this has been superseded by some more recent court decision, I'll be glad to take it into consideration as I move forward. This comes from a 2021 advisory opinion from the State Committee on Open Government. The Appellate Division rendered a decision regarding the specificity of motions for entry into executive session that offers direction. It then mentions the court case in the year, which was 2012. The court required the public body to identify, quote, identify with particularity the topic to be discussed, since only through such identification will the purpose of the open meetings law be realized. End quote. The school board had entered into executive session based on a recitation of the statutory language, which was the initial thing that you guys did. Confirming the holding, the court determined that the mere regurgitating of the statutory language was insufficient. In one instant, the court held that when the board entered into the executive session to discuss matters related to the appointment or employment of a particular person, it must identify the matter as part of the process of searching for a new superintendent. And the lead into that court case was exactly what you originally did before you provided the specificity needed. Thank you.
Any other comments? Mary Ann, you had a comment? Go ahead.
Would you like to go first? Go right ahead.
Earlier this year, the board declared itself as lead agency under seeker for the consideration of the Terrigen Hurley Avenue BEST project. As lead agency, this board is responsible for the discretionary permit approval of this project. We have to date reviewed information from the applicant and have heard from our residents and neighbors of their concerns that this project may have a significant adverse impact on our community in various ways. These concerns have been documented in public comments during our meetings and in the many letters sent to this board. This project, with its potential impact, is possibly the largest and most significant one considered by this town in decades, if not ever. I am requesting that our attorney, working with our town planner, prepare a sample draft resolution of a positive declaration for the Terrigen BEST project. I ask that this draft resolution be available and on the agenda for the board to review and discuss with our attorney and planner at our October 2nd board workshop meeting.
Consider it done.
Thank you. Mr. Drew? Your comment?
Okay, I am going to make a comment that has nothing to do with the battery BEST project. I'm just going to say, no problem. I would like to commend our police department because this week, a lot of you don't know what happened. We had an elder fraud scam. Somebody actually came in and threatened one of our members in the town of Ulster and tried to say that they were from another agency and they needed the money that she owed. Lieutenant Seyfarth, would you please come up and tell the entire story so I don't tell it incorrectly? But I'm going to tell you the collaboration among our police agencies is something I, as a board member and a town resident, am very proud to say that we were able to do exactly what Lieutenant Seyfarth is about to tell you, everything that happened. I'll turn off my mic. You can have it.
Thank you. I can share with everybody what we are able to share at this moment, because obviously it's an ongoing investigation and case that's currently being worked. But we had an elderly resident who was essentially threatened by, started as phone calls. She was threatened that they were a federal agency that she owed money to. She was scared, started the process. Thankfully, a family member got involved before any money was exchanged. And we were able to work with her, the bank, other agencies, the state police, sheriff's office that helped out, and we facilitated an exchange of what they thought was going to be the money, and we were able to apprehend one of the suspects right there on the scene. And fortunately, the driver took off, hit one of our police cars on the way. I'm sure everybody read the results. It was a small pursuit that went onto the state thruway, and we were able to apprehend him down by Newburgh. But essentially, without the cooperation of everybody, this lady would have been out $26,000 of her savings. So we're happy that thankfully she didn't do it yet. A family member was, cognizant enough to notify us, and that we were able to work through it and get these two people.
Please make sure that you tell everybody you know, because I walked into a diner and nobody knew what happened. One person asked me, what happened to your police department? And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I had no idea. They hadn't told me yet as of that point, and I had no idea. So I just want you guys to know, when they do something good, let's make sure we spread it around and tell the seniors in your life, because they don't all know that. They really don't. No
There's
federal
ever a
agency is going to come to your house or want you to meet them and give them the money. They just don't do that. So just keep that in mind.
If there's ever a question, we would rather you call. None of us are going to call and demand money over the phone. So if there's any questions, remind your family, please call us first, or call your local agencies first, and then we can help hopefully resolve it before you're out any money. You're welcome.
Anything on Glenary tonight?
Isn't that over? Is that over?
No.
I'm sorry. Can we have the update from you? I just want to thank you guys for everything that was done. I want to thank the highway department, the police department, for taking down our fence. Linda would have been here, but she's had 2 surgeries in the last 3 weeks. So she's not around to thank you guys. I appreciate it. It's been a long process. I know we still have far to go, but I want to thank every one of you for helping us out. So,
Has he been around?
yes.
He
And
has
he threatened us again.
Have you
And-
reported the threatening act?
He called the police department and said that we took down his fence, but they didn't show up, thank goodness, because I thought I was going to go to jail and not be able to visit Linda in the hospital. So, anyway,
He was instructed to come down to headquarters and fill out a report, which he didn't do.
well,
Okay.
he's also threatening to put up another fence, but I hope, because it would be the only permit he would ever have gotten to put up a fence there. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
Okay, as an update for the board, as you all know, we were successful in our litigation. He has filed his motion for appeal with the appellate court. He had 6 months from the date of his filing to perfect his appeal by filing the appropriate documents. That time period is continuing to run. And beyond that, we've had no notice from his attorney of what his intentions are. And I wouldn't expect them to telegraph what their moves are. Our judicial order that gives us the right to remedy the deficiencies on the property does not include the category of legal fees.
Thank you again, everybody, for everything you've done. Thanks.
Any other comment? No other comment? I make a motion to go into public, executive session. All those in favor? Mr. Baker? please attend. I don't know